Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om, peace, peace, peace. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Today is Ganpati Visarjan. All over the world, particularly in Maharashtra, in a big celebration. And in this, it reminded me of this little suffering that we are going to miss our dear Lord Ganpati, the one who gives us prajna, is the Veda Gyan. And the Vedanta and the Veda and the Upanishads have gone out from yours and my mind. Where the world over today, Rupert Spira, one of the Greek philosophers, you can YouTube Bernard de Castro, and they're all talking about consciousness, Upanishads, Vedanta, top philosophers. And you know something? Bernard de Castro is supposed to be PhD in artificial intelligence, and then he switches over from PhD artificial intelligence to PhD in philosophy and in consciousness today. And this consciousness is from Ekam Advaitam Vedanta. This, when I am thinking about Lord Ganesha's Visarjan, Lord Ganesha is not going away, but he is reminding us by coming in and going away. Prajna is the supreme of the supreme knowledge of the Vedas. He is the writer of that. You recollect Rishi Vyasa and Ganesha. You must be knowing the story. So without going into it, this is the little pain of ignorance. This is suffering, because of which you and I are suffering away. Suffering away in our life, suffering emotional problems, physical problems, sickness, financial, relationship, all kind of suffering. And some kind of suffering gets healed and then it comes back again. But the beautiful statement is given in the Upanishads is, don't let this suffering go waste. Don't let this pain go waste. This pain, when it comes to you and me, it is to uplift us. It is to focus us. It is to bring out that wealth of greatness from within us. And then we stand alone and face the world. And we realize this world out there and the world in here is just one. You know something? It is a beautiful metaphor which has been there in the Vedanta. And I heard Rupert Spira again talking about it recently and Bernard de Castro, they were having a dialogue of debate of what is consciousness, how do you define consciousness. And Rupert Spira comes out with the ancient Vedantic philosophy, which I would love to share with you. He said, this is our life, and we are tasting this life with our five senses, which in turn grabs the world and through various eye, ear, taste, touch, smell, comes and puts it through the five instruments of our senses, through the brain, goes into the mind. And mind is powered by that consciousness. But this mind, when it comes to it, it's like a movie. We are watching a movie. Everybody's watching every night a movie, every day a movie. Imagine you're in a movie hall, a huge picture, 70 mm or whatever the biggest one now, or in your own house, a big television. But think, do we ever look at the movie and think this movie is possible because of that screen behind the movie? If the screen was not there, there will be no movie. If the television was not there, the screen of the television not there, there will be no movie in the TV. We are ignorant of that screen at the back. And this is what Rupert Spira is very beautifully remembering from the Upanishad and quoting it, that we have forgotten, we are unconscious of this screen at the back, which is what is yours and my life. You could see me and hear me right now. How? It is because of that screen, which is the consciousness, which is powering through the mind, to the brain, to the senses, through the 5 instruments, and going out to the world, grabbing the world. But the power is from that screen. The consciousness is bringing the world and keeping us what? Alive. Learn, taste, touch, enjoy, have fun, whatever we are doing, and it is doing with the consciousness as the screen. This pain and the suffering which comes in our way, when we, because of our past karma or the present karma, good, good, bad, bad, all faces the law. It's a very famous statement by Swami Vivekananda in Karma Yoga of his book. You know, a monk in the Himalaya receives one of his devotee, comes from Delhi, goes all the way and says, Maharaj, please take away my suffering. I'm suffering so much. So the monk asks him, do you know that you're suffering? He says, yes, of course, that's why I've come to you. He says, how do you know it? He said, because I feel it, I realize it, I sense it. I am in that torment, I am in that pain. The monk says, you are realizing. That means you are not in pain, but you are the drashta, you are the witness of the pain. So you is who? You are that screen, the consciousness on which the movie is being played, of pain or suffering or joy or perfect relationship or whatever. So what do? Don't let the pain go waste, meaning make this pain, purify, bring up that tolerance, that compassion, that greatness from within, and look upon that little pain just as a witness. And a beautiful statement, this too shall pass. This will also go away. You know, very beautiful statement. Atmatyatya duksha nivritti paramananda prapti. If you follow just the Vedantic principles. And during this whole episode, 1893, Swami Vivekananda takes the entire Vedanta to do what? 2 things. I don't know if you all ever reflected on it. Why did Vivekananda go down? Everybody said to spread our culture, our heritage, our Vedanta, Upanishad. Yes, he did, but not like that. He carried his Guru's message to do what? What were the Guru's message? Guru's message were 4 things. Paramahansa Ramakrishna said, unity, not diversity. Unity, oneness. All are one. We all are one. We got different name, different body, different form, different function, different gender, but we are one. And then oneness in all religion. Practice any religion, but Sanatan Dharma of India accepts all religion not only as one, but all religion are one. All religion takes you to one, that supreme God. It's compassion to all. Let me very simply read it out to you from this very famous, the Ramakrishna's parables. He is talking about in this page 29, the 4 cardinal points of Sri Ramakrishna teachings are the oneness of existence. All are one. There is only one existence. And that one existence is existing through each one of us. And divinity of man. Discover that power from within you, within me. The education is the discovering of that divinity from within. And then it's the unity of God. All gods are one. These are the four teachings. I told you about three. And the fourth one is the harmony of all religion. All religion is one. So Vivekananda took not just to spread that message, but to take away this pain, suffering from the people. He set up 1895 the first Vedanta ashram in the United States in Manhattan, New York. And I'm not doing this session about Vedanta setting up. I'm talking about the suffering. And he went ahead and talked about the problems of evil, and which is suffering, dukkha, atmikitya duksha nibritti paramananda prapti. If you get touched through these Upanishads and through your own self, you will suddenly find that you are liberated from all kind of sufferings you overcome. That comes back of something else, whether it is physical suffering, mental suffering. And we generally, you and I, try to solve this suffering of our worldly ways. Religion, of all religion, also promises us of various relief and goes and tells us that if you attain that moksha, nirvana, or salvation, or Buddha state, Buddhism, Bodhisattva, Paramahansa state, you will go above all that. Swami Vivekananda says that, look, this religion is not really a solution to all. Most important in the world of reality today, we should talk in one language which should mean to the intellectual people, educated people, bring it to the language on that way. When you do that, religion then seems to be offering a solution. It is only like when the religious priest tells us it provides you the solution. It is like a mosquito comes, and the famous story, sits on a man's head, and man was trying to get out of it but couldn't, so he called his friend, and the friend came and hit the head so hard, mosquito did die, but this man also died. That is what is the principles of the seeking apparent help through the religion. So the Vivekananda goes ahead and says the religions of the world are right, but the way it is presented does not quite appeal to our reason. It is presented that it seems like an unreasonable demand to people like you and me. It seems like what should be there is a religion which is equally in heart, in your feeling, in love, in compassion, in bhakti, as well as logic in head and in understanding, reason and feeling. It should appeal to us. It should appear to be real. And that reality is what we are talking about in the Vedanta today in the world over. He goes on to say, I would beg to state that Vedanta is the rational religion for this age. What Vedanta says will and be acceptable by the rational minds of this age. This is what is happening. This is what David Clooney in Harvard Divinity, it's a college called HDS, Harvard Divinity School. David Chalmers in NYU, Evan Thompson in British Columbia University. I just took the name of Rupert Spira and Bernard Kastrup and so many others, Ned Block and things like that, including Einstein. You know what Einstein had talked about? You'd be surprised to know, a little while ago, somewhere around 1952, Einstein was sent a book by somebody called Eric Goodkind. Eric Goodkind wrote a book and send it on Judaism and send it to Einstein. Einstein wrote a letter, and do you know this letter has just now been exact figure? I will tell you again. I think it is $2.89 million. Einstein's letter was sold in US. I will tell you the name of the organization on Sunday also. Okay, I will have to just dig it out. This letter, in which what he had written, I will tell you. He's written back to Eric Goodkind. I considered the Word of God to be nothing other than a collection of human weaknesses. Can you believe? Einstein calls that the Word of God to be nothing other than collection of human weaknesses. To me, the Jewish faith, along with all other religion, is a collection of childish superstition. Does it mean Einstein was an atheist? Not at all. Einstein goes ahead elsewhere, right? The God I believe is Spinoza's God. Spinoza was just about 300 years before that. He was a great philosopher, and Spinoza is not talking about pantheism. He talked about orthomorphic God. Pantheism meaning God has created this universe is nothing else but the God. That is pantheistic God and religion. Einstein says what is in common, parlance called pantheism. God in this universe, not a personal deity involved in the day-to-day lives of human beings. So I don't believe in that kind of God. I believe in pantheistic God, which is the pantheistic God is very rational, a lot like Vashishta Advaita Vedanta, which talked about like Ramanujam and things like that. So now there is one divinity unity which is all are one, which is what Vivekananda spread to the world. Second message Vivekananda sent it to US, from US and UK to India back. One was a message to the Americans and the Britishers. Imagine 1893, that was 54 years before 1947, our independence, when we were called slaves in our country. In that time, one slave like so-called from India, Vivekananda, goes and is worshipped as Guru. And he tells them that do not be sheep in this world. Come to me. I'll show you there's a lion inside of you. And he sent the message from England and America back to India, to Indians like you and me. Arise and awake. Uttishtata Jagrata. This answer is the definition of the word. So the whole thing what we are going to cover up is from Isha Upanishad. This is Gambhirananda's 8 Upanishad. From here we will be covering progressively the Upanishad. Isha Upanishad, a few lines, and we'll continue with Ashtavakra Gita in this coming Sunday. Isha Upanishad, first mantra. Mahatma Gandhi says, Mahatma Gandhi, 150 years of his birth anniversary just went. He says, if all the Hinduism were to disappear, this is Gandhi's statement, if all the Hinduism were to disappear, all the books and temples and everything but just the first verse of this Upanishad to stay, Isha Upanishad remains, all of Hinduism would remain and survive. That powerful is that mantra. Alright, so Robbin Ghosh, what is that mantra? The grand opening of the mantra of the Isha Upanishad says, Om Ishavasya Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat Tena Takshena Vanjita Bhagida Kasya Swadhanam. It means the entire universe is moving, unmoving, non-moving, living, non-living. All this universe is covered by God. If it is covered by God, then what do we have to do? He says, all we have to do is uncover it. And how do we uncover it? we discover it. Covering is equal to uncovering, is equal to discovering God. And when you do that, get back to the first statement. Don't let your pain go waste, but see God everywhere. And this God everywhere is the simple metaphor. Remember, a very simple example in Vedanta it is utilized. A jeweler father is telling son, go to upstairs, open the trunk, this is the key, and bring some gold. The son goes running upstairs and opens the box and comes back and says, Father, there is no gold. Father said, what do you mean? There is no gold. Go and see again. Again the boy goes and comes back. Father, there is no gold. Father says, okay, what did you see? He says, I saw bangles and necklace and tiaras and pajit. The father said, listen, they are all gold. They are all made of gold. So what are we seeing? We are not seeing the screen. We are seeing the movies. We are not seeing the gold behind the ornament. We are seeing the ornament. This is the metaphor of which we have forgotten that the consciousness alone, as per Advaita Vedanta, is you, is me, and everything is the existent. Sat, Chit is the consciousness, and Jnanam is, as per Taittiriya Upanishad, is Ishvara. So, with the linking with the Ganapati's Visarjan, he is the Prajna Data, gives us, takes us from unreal to real. And the first sloka which I talked about today, Purnamada Purnamidam, that means from Purna, Purna is taken away. And when Purna gives birth to Purna and Purna is taken away, generally if I take away something from this glass of water, some will vanish, some water will vanish if I take away. But from Purnam, when you take Purnam, Purnam alone remains. Nothing is lost. The consciousness, Chaitana, is the Jnanam of Prajna Data, Vignaharta, our Ganapati Muni. He's talking about it. And that is the first mantra that I talked about. Really, Vivekananda is saying, open your eyes, my friend, and see that is indeed God. What we thought is the world in reality, in actually it is God. So now how do I understand it? It sounds very good or a big talk. Understand it very simply. Imagine we are waves in the ocean of life. I'm a wave, you're a wave, and your husband, wife, everybody is a wave. All a wave. And I ask, waves have water in it. Very famous past example, you have said yes. And Vedanta says no, waves don't have water. You say, what do you mean waves don't have water? Vedanta said, what waves? Even ocean doesn't have water. You will say, shut up. How can it be? Vedanta says, see, this glass has water in it. I can separate the water and separate the glass. Can you separate the water from the wave? No. Can you separate the water from the ocean? No. The water alone has become the wave and has become the ocean and has become the rain, and including the dirty puddle on this rainy season on the street, or the rain, the waterfall, the cloud, everything is one existence, is water. Understanding very simple for you and I is that consciousness alone is you, your wife, your husband, your children, your parent, your people, your mentor, your things, living, non-living, everything. Through the pain and the suffering comes that realization. Don't let it go to waste. I'll finish it with a very simple, I have talked about it before, many of you may have heard about Princess of Kashi. But it fits in so beautifully today. I cannot but get infected to share with you. Princess of Kashi. It's a famous play, was being made in one of the kingdom very close to Varanasi. And Varanasi those days were called Kashi. And Princess of Kashi was a very pretty lady, and it was a play were being enacted in another kingdom. And there they were looking for the princess of Kashi, who's supposed to be about 5 years old and very pretty. And the ministers and everybody searching for a pretty girl, they couldn't find one. And it was the queen's idea of the play. So they go to the queen and said, "Queen, we cannot find a pretty girl in the, alike princess of Kashi." The queen said, "Okay, listen, my son, he's 5 years old. He's very handsome. Why don't you dress him up?" And they dressed him up, and the prince really transformed and looking so pretty and beautiful. The play was over. Queen liked the transformed prince looking like a princess so much that Queen told the Raj painter that paint a picture, make a painting out of his face today. And the young prince, 5-year-old, looking like a princess of Kashi, was printed. And below it was written, Princess of Kashi, and the birth date was given, and the date, 5-year-old. And after a while, this goes 15 years, 20 years now. And that same prince of that kingdom grows up. He is now about 20 years. And he's roaming around. He's doing a lot of princely things. And he goes to one day to the basement and storeroom. And he sees many things, jewelry and things like that. And he sees this painting. He just cleans it up, gets his staff to clean it up, and he sees a beautiful painting. And he says, "Wow, look at this girl." In his heart, he's fallen in love with that girl. And he said, "I have to marry this girl." But he doesn't know how to tell his parents. He is mooning and moping and quiet and not being like the princely like before, 25-year-old now. So, king and the queen asks him, he is shy to tell. Then one of the old minister, Wazir, he said, "I will talk to him. I have seen him grown up from childhood." He goes to the prince and talks to him, and prince says, "What shall I tell you, sir? I'm in love." The minister said, "Very nice. Who's she?" He said, "She's the princess of Kashi." He said, "Princess, very nice, just ideally suited for you. Tell me, where did you meet her?" "I have not met her. I actually seen her painting." "Really? Show me the painting." "No, actually the painting is not the current painting. It's an old painting." He said, "Old painting?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Show me the painting." The prince takes the minister to the basement storeroom. And as he shows the painting, minister sees it. Everything flashes in his mind. He tells the prince, "Please sit down." Prince says, "Why? Come whatever may, I want to marry her." The minister said, "Prince, this is not princess of Kashi." Prince says, "Whoever she is, I want to marry only her. Otherwise my life is gone." The minister said, "Prince, it is tat tvam asi, you are only that." And then he tells him the story. What happened to the prince? Just like, do not let your pain go waste. It immediately awakens from within an awareness to the prince that this princess of Kashi painting is none other than I. You look at everybody around you is none other than that consciousness, I-ness, which is I. I was there in 5, same I was in 10 years of age, same I was 15 and 20 and 30, and I at 50 and middle-aged and old-aged, I remain constant. That I is that Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat Purnamudachyate. Jai Guru. I look forward to seeing you on the Sunday. Come with questions.